starting out, this one I actually had to rack my head around a little bit, and this is one that I really thought for a long time because if there's anything on this list that is questionable, it's going to be the next one. And so the first S tier leader is going to be Vortis, and I'm going to say the math behind combat spoils and why he is S tier. I want to also put, if you take combat spoils out because most people ban combat spoils, then I would put him near Pavium, so like a C tier. So combat spoils puts him in S, but without combat spoils I put him in C. Like I think that's pretty accurate. As for combat spoils, for killing a heavy supply pad, you get 300 supplies, 400 power for killing a heavy supply pad. That's at spoils level 1. And I'm sorry, I misspoke. 240 supplies, 320 power. That's what it is. So 240, 320. That's the exact number. And so that's essentially 560 resources from killing a supply pad. And then as for the generator, that is 320 and 480. So that is 800 resources for the generator when you kill it. But really, where I think he gets kind of out of control is when you have splash damage. So if you have grunts with your shrapnel mines, don't hit the pad. Hit in between the two pads and the base because you're going to siphon from all three at the same time, and that's really where it starts to getting out of control.
Uh,
Now, there's also things about Vortis that some people don't know. Like, for example, the Grenadiers, whenever they get their third upgrade, that whenever they shoot, they multiply the damage of Cataclysm. So they make these little infusion pools that do that literally multiply the damage of infusion. So instead of Cataclysm doing 1 times damage, it does 2 times, 3 times, 4 times damage, and that by itself, I think it only stacks up to like 4 times damage. But Cataclysm already does a lot of damage. You multiply that by 400%, like it's quite ridiculous. So yeah, using that exploit with the Grenadier drop on top of the fact that you can just build Grenadiers as well, it gets kind of busted pretty quick. Um,
so how
Also,
do you use that though? How does that work?
so when the third upgrade for the Grenadiers is they shoot tiny infusion pools onto whatever their target is, and what happens is you have one big infusion pool, but then you have two little infusion pools on top of that. And what that's essentially doing is all three infusion pools are doing damage to the same target at the same time.
Mm.
And that's why it's multiplying it. Now,
That's
but
only with Grenadiers with the upgrade though, right?
with the Tech 3 upgrade, they have to get both upgrades. So
Mm.
that's the final upgrade, yeah. But about that time, that's easy to get with Cataclysm. Like we're talking really late game at that point, right?
Sure.
But as for early game, combat spoils. So if I build a few grunts, send it over to your base, Y ability, I'm going to get so much money back and so much value from it. It's ridiculous. Most people are going to know that. They're going to plan for it and they're going to build defenses for it. The problem with this is if you build defenses and I do not push your base, then you're crippled. And if you don't build defenses and I push your base, you lose. So the fact that you can get 600 resources, most of which is power, from killing a supply pad, 560 resources, or you can get 800 resources from killing a generator, most of which is power again. That at combat spoils level 1, the fact that you can spam choppers and have infusion which a massive chopper army with infusion will kill pretty much everything in this game on. But the fact that it also has combat spoils on top of it, that like, what are y'all thoughts?
Ah,
Is
I
it?
I think Vori's really just like yeah, if he has a hard time dealing with leaders,
He does.
so I don't.
Absolutely.
And I have heard whispers, like a lot of super high up guys, kind of asking for Vori to be allowed back into the tournaments again because they don't feel with the current meta, with everybody's like most of the top players' current
Mm.
skill set, they don't feel as though he's as busted as he was once fabled to be.
Yeah, so and that's where the controversy comes in. It's like, is he really that broken? And the ultimate thing is, can you keep him off your minis? Can you keep him off your base? That's where it comes down to. Can you do that? And I think that getting, just think about like how many 600 resources from one supply pad, man. Like 320 power from killing one supply pad. If I kill two of your supply pads, I'm over 2/3 of the way to, or I'm 2/3 of the way to Tech 2, just with two supply pads killed.
Hmm.
So that's a lot, man. Like that's a lot, especially if you're doing damage to three pads at once, like two pads plus the main, and you're doing that all at the same time. Like the amount of time it takes you to get your money back is like almost instant. Like by the time you throw your Y abilities, all your money is back. So it's like holy cow, and he is bad against heroes, but they also have to keep him off of the bases because he's going to be spamming jetpack brutes to like one jetpack brute for every mini you have, and he's just going to have like infinite resources. Where it's just because I know that they say, oh well, maybe we should let him back in the tournaments, but you also got to remember back in the day, whenever he was allowed in the tournaments, he took the tournaments by storm. Where it was like they just couldn't stop the plethora of jetpack brutes that were being swarming there, and grunts swarming all minis at the same time. And same thing with choppers shooting. And it's like you only have so many resources on the map you can grab. I can grab resources until the end of time, until this match is over. So he did take,
Hmm.
and we're talking like the best players in the world, right? So he took high level 1v1 tournaments pretty much by storm, and people complained about spoils being too OP, so he got banned from tournaments. And for anybody that doesn't know, Vortis is usually banned from tournaments because of combat spoils, and without combat spoils, I think he's C at best. But with combat spoils, that's the only thing that puts him in S. And usually in customs and such, he's usually banned. Usually you're not allowed to use combat spoils because of that reason. Getting 560 resources for killing a supply pad at combat spoils level 1 is just quite ridiculous. Um, and then if anybody's interested, um, at level 2 combat spoils, you get 400 supplies and 585 power from one supply pad. That's ridiculous. Like
That is crazy.
that's just from killing a heavy supply pad. So you get, if you kill two supply pads at CS2 or combat spoils level 2, right? That right there is 1200 power. That's crazy. That's crazy. And I think that's exactly why I put him in S tier, is because that is just, there's no other leader that has any leader power that's anywhere even remotely comparable to the amount of resources you're getting with Vortis and combat spools. So that's why I put him there. What are y'all's thoughts?
I could see, yeah, I could see it. I think a lot of
Mm-hmm.
the better guys have a better time dealing with the combat spoils. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not. someone on my level would be able to handle that. I don't know. Yeah, I could see why it's banned. I don't know. There were like compelling cases I've read on like the subreddits by like some
Sure.
decent level guys where they're just like, yeah, they should just let him back in the tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, this is the hardest one for me to decide on. Monkey and me have been talking about this list for quite like a few days because I've been working on it for a few days, and
Hmm.
I've went back and forth in my head, racking, trying to figure out where to put him. Um, and yeah, it's been a really rough time trying to figure out exactly where I can put him. Um, and you know what? I kind of caved in. I'm like, you know what? CS is just that broken, and that's why I put him in S tier. So that's my personal opinion. Maybe people don't go for it. As for anybody that's watching this, as for what leader powers and what units you should be building, if combat spoils is allowed, then I would say spoils, grunts, jetpack brutes in mass, target. Usually the pads that are upgraded because they're going to give you supplies and power, whereas unupgraded pads won't give you supplies and power. If you kill generators, always kill the generator that the person has built last. The order of when they build the generator matters to combat spoils. If you're in a mirror match, then maybe going Infusion Wake over Invigorating Frenzy could be a thing. And also building your hero in the mirror match is a good idea. Infusion works in layers, and it layers on top of each other. So that means that your infusion basically becomes an eraser for the opponent's infusion. So yeah. Um, as for leader powers, though, spoils one, grenadier drop, um, invigorating frenzy. Honestly, if you're doing spoils, you might as well do spoils two at this point, and then go cataclysm. If you're not doing spoils, then mine, grenadier drop, invigorating frenzy, the unit drop with the marauder. I can't remember what it is.
Marauder Engineer.
Yeah, it's the Marauder Engineer drop. That one, and then Cataclysm. So, as for Maelstrom, don't pair it with Cataclysm. Use it by itself. It's really good with Wraiths, and it's really good with Reavers. Because Reavers do a lot of area effect damage, so it'll make all the Banshees or whatever come on top of each other. And then, whenever the Reavers hit one, it'll splash damage to all of them. It does a massive amount of damage. Same thing against vultures and stuff like that. Also, you can stop vulture Y abilities by using Maelstrom. So if they're Y abilitying your base, you could throw a Maelstrom under them, and then it'll cancel all the Y abilities. So that's really useful. Um, but yeah, for the most part, Cataclysm, upgrade your Grenadiers to the third upgrade, and then yeah, and that'll magnify your damage. Is there any final thoughts on Vortis for anybody?
Nope.
Yeah, I have
Oh.
two. Um, I wanted to ask,
Mm-hmm.
firstly, since you say it stacks and layers, I've been hearing that Infusion Wake stacks as a second layer of Cataclysm, and that it would increase the damage when you cataclysm. Um, is that right? Like if I get infusion, like if like let's say I have another source that puts it on and I throw an infusion wake on it, would that give me
Yeah.
a second cataclysmic? So it'd be twice the damage for.
So I would have to test it, but I'm pretty sure if you have a line around the outskirts of the pad and then a line on the inside of the pad, then I'm pretty sure that should double it because to me it sounds like it's the same premise. I know for a
Mhm.
fact it works with the Grenadiers. I have not tried it with Infusion Wake and other things.
Okay, because I that might
Mm.
for me make a small tinkering with what do how I use my leader powers or how I pick it because I
Yes.
might want to pick it up as another leader power. Um, and I also feel like this was a very compelling case for teleport
Hmm.
over that drop. And I think the reason is, especially if you're playing somebody like Vortis, it would make the most sense for you to want that mobility because you just need damage on something. And what better leader power than to go in with teleport or to get your units out with teleport whenever you need to. And especially with someone like him who could run a wide variety of units that could benefit from the teleport, like jump pack brutes, locusts, um, wraiths,
Grenadiers.
even grenadiers. Yeah, anything. Like I think teleport is arguably easily one of his best worth leader points.
Yeah, I mean, teleport's really good. I actually like the Marauder Engineer drop, personally.
Hmm.
Also, I like the fact that I can drop detection whenever I please. So, like, if I don't,
Yep,
and
that's
so,
good too.
so something to know about like things like when it drops in an engineer or a unit that has sight. The once you call in the ship, you immediately get the sight. You don't have to get the units actually to teleport out of it. Like you immediately get the sight. So that's just something to know and think about whenever you're calling in for detection. So you don't actually have to wait for the units to come out.
Hmm.
But yeah, is there any other thoughts or like
No,
do,
just
do
just the
y'all
teleport.
do you guys
That was
do
it.
you guys disagree with this placement on S tier being above majority of the other leaders? Like, do you?
Yeah, I could
Uh,
see it. Yeah.
I not yeah, with spoils I could see it. I definitely think
All right.
spoils and pairing with teleport is
Well,
ridiculous.
what
Yeah.
about without spoils? Where would you guys put it? I said C with Pavium. Where do you guys think you'd put
C
it?
for sure. Yeah, without spoils. Maybe D
Maybe
without spoils.
D.
To
I
be
was gonna
honest.
say
Yeah.
D, right? Like
So,
I
Yeah.
don't like that. Like
so you think around Johnson, Serena Handers level?
yeah, I mean without spoils, yeah, easily he could be argued for
So
D.
you think Pavium and Isabel are gonna be beating his choppers with infusion? Because that infusion mine's
I think
good, and
so.
the Grenadier's good, and
You run into the same leader that you run with Yap that we've had this whole discussion with. He just can't deal with like very like heavy leaders
mm-hmm.
or anything like that, and it's like the others have recourse. Like they all have something that maybe they could use in their kit to deal with leaders, and I just don't feel like you have that with Vortis. So it would easily
I mean, spam
be like,
choppers with infusion is like his only
sure,
option.
yeah,
Like, I mean,
it's his only option, but I don't know. I without
okay. C
yeah,
or
without the
D. So
spoils, yeah,
C or
C or
D.
D. Hmm.
Okay, so really, so you guys can see how much of a difference that spoils makes. Like without it, he's C or D. With it, he's S. Like that's a ridiculous change right there. Like that's how broken that leader power is. I mean, be just getting 560 from killing supply pad level 1, and but getting 1,000 it's 985 resources for with CS2 on just a supply pad. That's crazy. So, all right, number one best leader in the game, all time champion, Shipmaster. Like, I'm pretty sure we're all in agreement on that
No
one.
disagreement
No,
there.
no, no. Come on, give Isabel her spot. We all know what the truth is. All right. I know it. You know it. We know it's Isabel. All right. We can say it's Shipmaster for the video, but we all know it's Isabel.
We all know. I mean, I get a whole army for 100 supplies. Like, so
Listen, man, I it's basically UNSC app. I can throw things at you that cost me nothing. Like what else do you want me to say?
right.
It's literally the best leader in the game, hands down.
Okay, so honestly though, so for Shipmaster, you're almost always gonna ghost spam. So you're probably gonna ghost spam. The fact that you can go ghost and suies, the fact that your ghosts are faster if you go banish raid 2. You don't have to go banish raid 2. You can go banish raid 1 into extraction, but you're either going to go banish raid 2 or banish raid into extraction with your ghost. It's almost literally impossible for any leader to beat him in the early game with just spamming a shit ton of ghosts and suies. Like Like it's genuinely like almost impossible to end the game there. And the thing of it is if you don't kill Shipmaster in the beginning, he will absolutely win the late game. He will unequivocally win in the late game. I'm not going to say he has the best early game, but he has a kit for his early game to prolong the game. And if he prolongs the game, you lose. You lose. That's all it is. Like it doesn't like you will lose. Displacement coming back in 4 minutes is absolutely ridiculous. It's way too strong to come back in 4 minutes. And the fact that he can
Yeah.
displace your army into into a shielded area that is body blocked off where you can't micro out of it and beam you, that that sucks. Also, Spirit Support is regarded as one of the best, if not the best, drop for a fourth point in the game. So, Spirit Support giving you two veteran engineers with a veteran ranger and a veteran hunter is regarded as the best drop in the game for a fourth point, I think. You also get the Spirit Support to stay around and shoot as well. 800 supplies, 500 power, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, the kit we already explained. First leader point, banish raid 1. Second leader point, either raid 2 or extraction. Third leader point, you're probably going glass and beam. Fourth leader point, you will always pretty much be going for Spirit Support. And the last leader point is going to be displacement. After that, you're probably going to go tactical gateway, because that teleport will allow you to teleport scarabs. You can literally teleport your scarab behind someone's base. They have to walk all the way over there to defend it, and then you displace them halfway across the map, and then they have to walk all the way over there to defend it again. Well, you can almost guarantee that that scarab's going to kill that base before they get there and teleport through tactical gateway. So I mean, there's really nothing any leader can do about it. You can say different leaders. The only leader that can beat a shipmaster in the late game is Arbiter. All other leaders lose. Isabel would be the third strongest leader, but the problem with that is her Ghost of Machine takes 6 minutes to come back, where it takes 4 minutes for displacement. So he could just go back and hit another base and do it again. So, what you guys have any thoughts on Shipmaster on that one?
Nope. Best leader in the game.
Oh man.
By far.
What we say third point was?
Glassing beam.
Oh, now it's glassing beam. Okay, I understand. All right.
We've been arguing how shit it was.
Yeah,
But
no,
yap,
we
yap.
picked it. We picked it twice, but for some reason, whenever I brought it up with Yap, it just doesn't work, even though it pairs with a stun. Okay, where's Shipmaster stun in that list, huh? I don't see a Shipmaster stun anywhere in that list, and yet he
Ghost
gets his
rams, man.
glassing beam.
Ghost rams.
Yeah, well, I have
Displacement
chopper
into a
rams. All right, I
body
have
block.
chopper rams.
I
No,
have
it
grunt
doesn't
dome.
count.
I
It's
have
not a
everything.
stun. All right, it's glassing beam for Yap. All right, it's enough with that. All right, and I'm gonna say one more final controversial point. Um, I like all the other LPs.
Hmm.
I like teleport. I just do. All right, I said it. It's great. First point. Everything else is fine. I just don't feel like adding to the ridiculousness of ship with an extra layer of teleport on top of everything else is not worth picking up. I feel like, especially since you've got so many other kits that pair with teleporting, you might as well pick up the first one. For me, I just think that's cool. I like it. It's a very universe, like,
For your
be
third
great
point,
LP.
right?
Um,
Or is that your first?
well, it could easily be my third, but since we've agreed on the glassing beam, I'll probably put it as my first. And that probably sounds crazy, but we've agreed on extract, and I think it's great.
Yeah, I like Banished Raid. I mean, the fact that you have two population with 100 resources, scout units that can garrison and have double line of sight, on top of the fact that you can get nodes even faster. And if you're allowed to node strat, that makes it even
Mm.
more ridiculous.
Yeah, with the node strat, that's
And
that's true. Yeah,
And
that is
just
true.
and if nobody knows how to
Mm.
nose strat right now, I'll go over it briefly. So you get banished raid with Shipmaster because he's the best at nose drag, and take your first 3 grunts, immediately get your upgrade, and go for the 3 closest nodes to you. And once you get there, use your Y ability, gain the node. Then a sentinel will try to retake the node, and when it does, shoot that sentinel, and you'll be able to walk away. So you can literally cap the node, kill the sentinel, and walk away with your grunt, and you're going to get 3. It's better to do 3 than to get more grunts and do 4 or 5. It's just get 3 immediately, because the thing of it is you need to get the power rolling ASAP, as fast as possible, because the enemy is going to take them back. So you want your team to have those nodes as long as they possibly can before that happens. And just so you know, Forge usually fast techs to tech 2 at 215. If you node strat like that with on his team, he can fast tech at 135. That's the difference between that. It's
Yeah,
absurd.
yeah,
Um,
that is ridiculous. Yeah.
but yeah, if you're not node stratting, then spam ghosts and suis, and literally just, you don't even have to be that aggressive, but you just want to prolong the game. That's it. You just prolong the game and you win. Like that, that's all you gotta do. So yeah, because late game, just scarab, go attack someone's base, displace them away from the base, and kill the base, and walk your scarab back, and and just repeat that process until the game's over. I mean, that's usually how you play ship. I mean, that's you can displace their army into a shield, kill their army, but usually it's better to kill the base.
Yeah.
'Cause they'll just rebuild the army. But if you keep killing the base, then they can't keep, like, it's just their economy will go down so fast.
Yeah.
Well, that is the list. So I'm gonna go back through, and I'm gonna.
You gotta go put Isabel at the top.
So we got Shipmaster. I'm gonna go in order.
Yeah.
So Shipmaster, Vortis, Colony, Yap, Forge, Arbiter, Desi, Trox, Cutter, Pavium, Isabel, Johnson, Serena, Anders, Jerome, Kinsano. That's the order. Does anyone
I like
have
that.
any?
I like the move Jerome. Like we talked about, I think Jerome going up above Cansano is a great point.
Mhm.
I still think I'm waiting for that Isabel revision. I know it's coming. I'm sure you're just waiting to surprise everybody, but
Sure.
uh,
Sure.
just slowly but surely, like sneak her in on the last edit. But everyone else is perfect. I think I could see the arguments for everything else.
All right. Well, yeah. Thanks everybody for watching, especially if you got this far into the show. And then, honestly, I'm gonna do a special reveal here in a second. That, surprise, Isabel is the #1 leader, like, in the game. Like,
Yes! I knew
only
it!
for
Kill
the people,
streamers!
only for the people that stuck around to watch until the very end. And now we know that unequivocally. No, I'm just. I'm joking.
It was
Yeah.
there.
But-
Watch the video. Watch the video. It was right there. We knew it all along. It was Isabel.